Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom with Kate Olson. As an evolving spirit and change adventure navigator, it is Kate's mission to empower and guide you on your path and inspire your truest passions. She will encourage you to share your gifts, speak your truth, and ignite your inner wisdom and purpose. She hopes to do so with a little humor and grace and her own soulfire passion. Kate talks with amazing guests who have embraced the pursuit and are fanning the flames of their own passion, purpose, and soulfire wisdom. Now here's your host, Kate.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Soulfire Wisdom. And well, I'm not going to say totally awesome, try something new and talk about it Tuesday, because I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to talk about trials and triumphs today instead. I'm going to be in the process of moving, and if any of you have ever done that before, and probably everybody has, you know that it involves a lot of trials mostly, and a few triumphs. And so I've kind of started that process, which altogether is probably going to take a couple months because I'm actually moving out of state. So yesterday my house got appraised, and the trial that I've been having is I took there was this big tree that grew in front of my living room window, and it was really too big for the spot that it was in, and it blocked the whole window, and it kind of looked pretty on the inside. It was this green with a little bit of light coming through, but for house selling it wasn't good because it didn't let enough light in my house, so I cut it down. But then I had this stump left over, and to have someone come and pull a stump out is really expensive. So I've been trying to do it myself, and I borrowed a chainsaw, and I have never used a chainsaw in my life. But, you know, it looked easy enough, so I thought I could do it. The one thing I didn't anticipate is the strength that you need to use one. The muscles that it used are apparently muscles that I never use because I did about 3 cuts on the stump, and my arm was so sore. It's just right now getting so that I can move it again. And I still haven't got the stump out, so I have to go back and cut it, and then again, and then I'm going to put a fire ring around it and burn the rest. That's one of the methods that you can use to get rid of a stump. So hopefully that goes well, and next week I can tell you that I was triumphant in getting that stump out. And it's actually one of the things, the buyers for my house, they came, I had already started on the process of removing the tree and stump, and that was one of the things they put in the contract that I had to finish because I guess they didn't want that job. So we have a great show planned for today. My guest is Pamela Cummins, and she is an expert on dream interpretation. And she loves analyzing her clients' dreams and teaching them how to interpret their dreams. Her goal is to show clients how to take the wisdom of their dreams messages to enhance their life and accelerate their personal and spiritual growth. She's also an author, a blogger, and a frequent guest on radio shows and podcasts. And I connected with her on LinkedIn. And when I saw what she did, I thought that would just be really interesting to have her as a guest. So I'm thrilled to have her here today. Hi, Pamela, how are you?
I'm doing good, Kate, and thank you so much for having me on the show. And wow, I wouldn't even know if I could hold a chainsaw. So,
It's more
good for you for trying.
Yes. Well, I love that tree picture behind you.
Oh, thank you. It's actually, there's an elephant.
Yeah,
So,
I see the elephant.
yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah, a tree and something else in there.
I think he's on a pedestal.
Yeah.
But, yeah, my sister gave it to me, and I just love the elephant. And it's funny because when you were talking about your tree stump, our neighbor, when we had a hurricane, I live in North Carolina, and we had a hurricane, and all her trees fell on her house, and she had a bunch of people come over with the chainsaw, but the tree stump is still there. And they use a huge machine. I didn't realize how much money it was, but there was one advantage of it is with this COVID-19, we actually saw like woodpecker there. And we got some really neat pictures and videos because he was around our yard because it was basically dead wood with lots of yummy treats for him. So I ended up writing a blog on the dream messages of woodpecker, and I couldn't help but think of that, but I realized if I moved someplace, I'd want them to take out the tree stump too. So.
Well, my sister had a tree in her backyard that she wanted to take down because it just kind of divided the yard, and she wanted more space. So they cut it down, but they didn't take out the stump. She kind of left different branches and put flower pots on them. So it's kind of a garden decoration now. I guess I tried that. I don't think it'd fly. So to start out, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what brought you to your current path?
Actually, some trials, since you were talking about trials and Trump, and I can't say the word, but it was trials in my life. This was a long time ago, back in the late 80s. I just wasn't happy. And I watched a friend of mine. She started to really grow and she seemed happy. And that's because she started her personal and spiritual growth journey. And I was like, I want what she has. I'm going to go for it. Okay. So I went to different 12-step groups. I went into therapy, and I've always been a dreamer, but my dreams really started coming out because I was working on my stuff. So childhood stuff was coming out in my dreams, and I had no idea what they meant. And so I went to a dream expert who was also a therapist, and she basically had me come in every week, and we went over my dreams. And we lasted for a couple of years until my psychic abilities started really coming out. And then she flipped out when I was having precognite dreams, which are dreams of the future. And she just was not happy with it. And I knew it was time to go on. And from that point, my dreams gave me so much directions. And I started interpreting other people's dreams and families, and eventually it went into my practice. It's always been there, always. And it looks like Zoom. Okay, it looked like Zoom freezed up for a minute. It's always been there, and I really have brought it out in the front. I wrote for Bella Spree for many years, doing In the Dream Time. I'm also a love and relationship expert, but I'm focusing much more on the dreams because your dreams of the nighttime and my dreams of the nighttime guide us. And I find it so fascinating. And I'm really into dream categories. That's what I like. And I see how you can use your dreams and teach people how to interpret their dreams so they can use it in their life. And you can get solutions in your dreams. And there's just so much you can do with your dreams.
Yes, it's been around for a long time.
Oh,
So,
no, since we've been on this planet, probably.
so do dream dictionaries help to interpret dreams?
A little, okay. I would say they're kind of like the foundation. Like I think dr- really you need to understand your symbolism. And dream dictionaries don't necessarily give you your symbolism. A good analogy of that is your horoscope.
Mm,
If you're a Libra, Cancer, Aries, whatever, and you can go now, it used to be the newspaper, now it's online, and you can see all these different horoscopes. Why? Because one, it's the person's interpretation, okay, and two, it's very basic. And I learned when I was learning how to do dream interpretation, I went out and I bought a dream dictionary and I looked at it and it never matched my dreams. Okay. So they're good. It's like if you're doing astrology, you need to know the basic 12 planets, but your astrology changes when you have your ascending, your descending, the time of date that you are born. And it's the same thing with symbolism. Okay. Let's take, I'm going to take a symbol if that's okay. Kate?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, like let's take a common one like snake. A lot of people have dreams about snakes. Now, if you look in a dream dictionary, you're going to see, depending on, some people are going to think that snakes are evil, like the Garden of Eden, especially like in a Christian, snakes are evil. And to some people that is true. It can be about transformation, but it also can be about medicine, okay? It can be a certain part of male anatomy. But what about the feelings that are behind it? Okay, because you could have a dream about a snake going up your arm, right? Let's say you're dreaming about a snake going up your arm. Now, if you're scared, okay, that could be, the interpretation for the Garden of Eden, if
Mhm.
that makes sense, okay? But if you're feeling very calm about it and you're interested and you reach out and to touch the snake, that could mean that you're getting out of, like, for instance, snakes are cold. Okay, you're getting out of a cold period in your life and you're ready to face the danger and go into a new area of your life. Okay, so in a sense, that's kind of like transforming. Okay, now if the snake's crawling up your arm and you take an action and you're feeling aggravated, like I don't want this, and you throw it, that means that something in your life is no longer good and you're shedding it. Okay, and then another example that I like to use, okay, because I know someone, and I think snakes are kind of cool, but I know someone, he has a lot of pet snakes. Okay, so to him, a snake, yeah, I saw your expression.
Yeah.
To him, a snake crawling up his arm is normal. That could be his, snake, Simon or something. Okay, so when you look at a dream dictionary, and I've heard a lot of people say, I looked it up in a dream dictionary and it made no sense. Well, that makes a lot of sense because one symbol can have hundreds and hundreds and thousands of meanings when you put in the emotion, what's going on in your life, in the past. I mean, for instance, if somebody in your family was killed by a snake, okay, or got a snake bite and died from the poison, that's going to have a totally different meaning to them than for somebody who is going to the zoo the next day. That could be a precognite dream of a snake that they're going to see. So there's so many factors to consider when it comes to symbolism.
Yeah, definitely. So how can you start to learn, about that, about the secret language of dreams?
Okay, one step at a time. Okay, I've been doing dream interpretation since 1991, and I'm still learning how to interpret my dreams and still have dreams that baffle me. Okay, so one step at a time. The most important step, obviously, is to remember your dreams. I remember somebody asking me, right? I mean, it sounds so simple, but you can't interpret something you can't remember. And somebody once asked me, has anyone ever told you that, dream interpretation is stupid, it doesn't exist? It does, dreams don't mean anything. And in my experience, no. Okay? Maybe because I'm not around a lot of skeptics. What people say a lot is, I can't remember my dreams. So you need to learn how to remember your dreams. Once you start remembering your dreams, you need to record it in some manner, okay? Because if you don't, like, there's certain dreams that, I don't know if you've experienced, Kate, where you have this dream and it's so powerful that you remember it decades, years later. I mean, I remember a dream like when I was 6 years old, okay? There's certain dreams, and my belief is, like, God, your angels, whatever you want to call it, is saying, you must remember this dream. But our basic dreams, as soon as we wake up and we remember them, out of our head. Oh, what part was that? So if you write it down, or whatever manner that you choose to journal your dreams, record your dreams, write it down. Then what's good about that is you can go back and start figuring out what the symbols mean to you, right? What's going on in your life? How did you feel? Feelings are so important in the dream. Who could, like, even like a snake could actually be representing your boss, okay? Or your mother, or your father-in-law, or your neighbor down the street, right? Okay? So what do these symbols mean to you? What's going on in your life? How could this relate to your life? What's going on in the past, okay? It's really good to look at all of that. And that's just a little taste of how you can start. Honestly, it's by doing it every day. It's like everything else that in life. The more you do it, the better you get at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember too many of my dreams now. When I was a kid, I would have dreams often, and I did remember them. In fact, there were some that were like recurring. I would have this dream where I was riding in a car, and then the car was falling off a cliff and backwards. And I would wake up and I would be hanging over the edge of the bed. So.
Okay. And I want to say that can be several things, right? Okay. I don't know if the audience or you believe in past lives, but that could be from another lifetime. All right. That could also be maybe somebody in your family had that happen to them. All right. So it could be like an ancestral dream. Okay. The other thing is feeling out of control. Okay. That's like, I'm going to
sure that's what it was in my childhood.
I'm going to fail. And also, I'm going backwards. I'm not moving forward, because it's interesting how the car flipped over backwards. Okay. So, another way, and I'm not saying this is you, but another way of looking at that is, with going with the symbolism, is you flipped out. Okay. Like, I'm flipping out. Okay. Were you driving the car, or you were a passenger?
No, I was in the back seat. And,
okay.
And as far as I know, I don't remember anybody driving it. It was just the car and me.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, kind of not knowing where you're going and not having any control seems like the main thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was what it meant in my childhood, is that having that feeling of being out of control and maybe.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people, obviously you dream every night, because if you didn't dream, you'd be dead. You need that REM sleep. And I'm not very scientific, but I know that you have to dream. Even animals dream. You see your dog or your cat, or even a bird, even outside, and they start to shake because they're dreaming. All human, as far as I know, at least mammals, we all dream. Okay. So you're just not remembering your dreams. Although during this time, a lot of people are remembering their dreams.
Well, every once in a while I have one. Like, I did have one about the COVID thing, and I went to Japan a few years ago, and so I had this dream that I was in Japan and I was on one of their trains.
Mm,
Their trains are just incredibly packed,
right. Oh yeah, I've
and
seen
and
movies.
you know, I was trying to social distance, and you know, I can't speak Japanese, and it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
No,
pretty sure
there.
what that one meant too is being, you know, kind of frustrated with some of the um, your ability to social distance in some situations. And
Right, and feeling endangered, okay, feeling packed. What's interesting though with the Japanese is because it originally came from China, okay, so you have that not being able to move, obviously. So yeah, and a lot of people. I mean, I had one about being in a classroom where nobody was social distancing, and I went to grab my mask and to get out of there because I was scared. Um, but that also represented the lessons that we're learning from this. And what happens is we have such a busy life, and this is why a lot of times we don't remember our dreams. There's a couple reasons. We have such a busy life that we don't slow down. Okay, so when we do slow down, like during COVID-19, and we don't have to get up at a certain time in the alarm clock, because the alarm clock's going to make you forget your dream real easy. Okay, and you don't have all these to-dos, then it's easier to remember them. Another reason for not remembering your dreams too is that it might have been too scary, or it might have been showing you a truth that you don't want to see. And then sometimes it could be you're just plain exhausted, or you remember bits and pieces and it just disappeared, which is why you write it down.
so talk a little bit about the different dream categories. You mentioned that.
Yeah, this is where I get real happy because I love dream categories. All right, first of all, there's environment dreams, okay? And environment dreams seem kind of silly, but they're important. And I say there's inner and outer environment. And what I mean by environment dreams is they let us know what's going within our body and outside, all right? So if a lot of people, and I know I have these, and my clients have these, is where they dream that they need to find a bathroom, and they can't find a bathroom. And okay, you've had these, or they find the bathroom and there's no door on it, okay, or it's disgusting or whatever, and they can't go. Another environment dream is like being thirsty and trying to quench your thirst, but you can't quench it and you wake up thirsty. Or you could be dreaming about being next to an icicle, or in Alaska, or out in the snow, and your blanket slipped off. Okay, so those are kind of inner, right? And they alert us to what's going on in our body, which is actually kind of important because they're letting us know, hey, go answer the call of nature so you don't have a mess. Go get something to drink. You're thirsty, go get a blanket. Okay, so they seem silly, but they're important. The outer environment dreams let you know what's going on outside in your environment. Okay, so if someone's trying to break in, for instance, all right, you might have a dream of somebody trying to break down the door, or someone trying to get into your car, or something like that. All right, so they alert us to danger. I mean, in the caveman time, I'm sure they had dreams about like saber-toothed tigers coming into the cave, and they woke up and then they were able to fight it off. So it alerts us to danger. If there's a fire, you might even just like start smelling smoke and thinking you left something in the stove too long, and you see a cake burning or whatever. Those are really important. We have environment dreams to keep us safe. And you even see at times on TV how people will have, like in movies, that they'll start dreaming about maybe a loved one or somebody warning them of danger, and they wake up and there's danger, right? That's really important. Another favorite dream category of mine is solution dreams. And we've been using solution dreams forever. Famous Albert Einstein used it for his experiments. Elijah Howe used it for the sewing needle because he was having trouble with the sewing machine with the needle. And when you do a thread and needle, you do it at the top. And he had a dream where you put the thread and the hole was at the bottom. And that's how the sewing machine was created. Okay. Yeah. Which is really neat. It's really cool. Medicines people have dreamed up on it. Now, how can we use it in our little lives? One of the things that I tell my clients to do is if you have a problem, before you go to sleep, ask for a solution in your dream. Okay. So if you're wondering, for instance, should I go on a date with this man? I've been feeling kind of off. Should I go on a date? And then you have a dream, and it might not be him. It might be someone you're from the past, or it might be someone you don't even know, or it might be a loved one's significant other. Okay. And if the person is being obnoxious and flirty, or drinking too much and just not the type of person you want to be with, then you'll know. Okay. I mean, I did it in my own love life where this was, so that's really neat. It can help you. Should I take this job? In your case, should I move? Where should I move to? Okay. So if you have a dream about the desert, or if you have the dream about the cold and an igloo, that will I'm sure that's not going to happen. I'm just using examples that will help you. Okay, so you can use it.
I've used that one a lot. I do get the answers. I get the answers, but still, even though I will have an answer or kind of a knowing, a lot of times I won't remember the dream or having a dream. It'll just be that I asked the question and then I know. So.
And you know what? And that works. And sometimes people will do that with solution dreams, okay? Because a lot of times people are like, it has to happen this way. And when it comes to dreams and our answers, no, it doesn't. You might get it in a dream, especially people who dream a lot. You might get it like you just know the answer when you wake up. Sometimes you wake up and you get the answer. That happens. And sometimes when you're not even expecting it, boom, you're like, I didn't get a dream. Because I tell people, if you don't get a dream, that's okay. It might take a week, or it might happen in another way. You might go online, see something. You might overhear a conversation. Our dream life is all about us. What's going on in our life, okay? And a lot of times it comes in our dreams, but it also comes in our waking life. And that's why I like to say, how can we use the wisdom of our dreams in our waking life? But we also need to know how to use our wisdom in the waking life too, if I'm making sense.
Yeah, I think you can also have, like daydreams or waking dreams.
Oh, absolutely. I actually, one time I was at this was in the 90s, I was at a hypnosis. It was for hypnotherapists, and we were in a convention, and the guy put us in a hypnotic state, right? And I don't need much of an induction, okay? Like those long inductions, I'm like, oh, just get on with it. That's how I am, okay? So I was getting bored. I started actually having a dream that I had the night before that I didn't remember. And when he counted us up, I couldn't remember the dream. Okay, so which was really interesting.
So stop interfering with my self-hypnosis.
Exactly.
So,
if you have more questions, I just want to say there's a lot of other categories, but I'm sure you have other questions, but those are just two.
So what are some of the other ones? Just name them.
Sure. Precognite dreams, which are premonitions for the future, health and body dreams, relationship dreams. I call them spiritual dreams, like when one chapter is over or you're ready to go into the next chapter of your life. So if you not comfortable with spiritual dreams, you can say life chapters. I'm doing this off the top of my head. Visitations from your deceased loved ones. And then there's nightmares, of course. Post-traumatic stress disorder dreams, which I won't work with anyone unless they're with a therapist. And that's basically, for anyone who doesn't know, that is trauma from your past. Okay, whether that is, environmental or war or, a crime or some type of abuse. And then there's lucid dreaming, which I'm really not into, but that's when you're dreaming and you try and control the dream.
Okay. So, how can people start to remember their dreams, or what are some ways that will help you do that?
Okay. And first of all, with anything else, it's intention. Okay. You have to intend for it. All right. And it starts the night before you go to bed. Okay. So one of the things, and this is an old-fashioned way that people have done it, is write yourself a letter, pen and paper. I know a lot of people don't do that. You can even stick it in an envelope, put it underneath your pillow. Or you can use your smartphone or your laptop if you're more comfortable with that. You can record it. You can also say out loud, I will remember my dream. I will remember my dream, over and over and over. And Kate, I'm sure you're aware of this, where if you go to sleep, and even if you say it to yourself, I will remember my dream, and you say it over and over, and you allow yourself to fall asleep, it goes within your subconscious mind all night long. Mm-hmm. The other thing I'd like to say, a couple things, is leave something where you can journal, or record your dream, whatever type of journal that you prefer to use, because some people don't like to write. So it's there. So before, it's kind of like if you put your clothes out for the next day, you get dressed. If you get your gym bag and put it by the door, you go to the gym. And it's the same thing with that. Also have a clean room. That's important too. Because if it's really messy, it kind of messes with your sleep. Am I making sense? Like it's
clutter in your life interferes, so I'm sure it your dreams too.
Yeah, it does. And I was going to say something else, and where did it go? You can also do, as you said, self-hypnosis, which is good. And you can do that during the day or before you go to sleep. I would say not before you go to sleep, because you don't want to confuse hypnosis with, sleep, meditation with sleep. I say to keep it separate, where you actually see yourself writing down, I will remember my dream, or saying it over and going to sleep, and then waking up and like, yeah, I remembered my dream. Now let me record it, So those are some ways.
Okay. So can interpreting our dreams help us with our love relationships?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, for one thing, as I mentioned before, it can tell you whether or not you should go out with somebody. Okay. It can, you can have dreams about maybe your mate cheating on you. Okay. Or an ex cheating on you. And I wanted to say to people, if you have a dream that your mate is cheating on you, that doesn't mean that they're cheating on you. Okay. It can, but don't jump to conclusions. That a lot of times is about your insecurity about the relationship, okay? And you're afraid of that. So that is a sign that, hey, I need to step up the romance. I need to pay attention to him. Let's suggest, let me take him or her out, let me focus on this relationship because I haven't been. And if you dream about yourself cheating on your partner, then you have to say, what am I not getting out of this relationship? What can I do to either make the relationship better, or is this relationship not fulfilling my needs? Another way to look at it too, it's just not love life, okay? If you're having a dream that you're arguing with somebody, okay, and you're fighting with somebody, and you normally don't fight with someone, you need to look at, am I angry? Did this person do something to me? Am I suppressing something? Because we human beings suppress a lot, okay? Even us, who have been into our self-healing for decades, we still suppress because sometimes we're in an environment where we have to, okay? So am I angry at this person? What's going on? What can I do about it? Or maybe they're angry at me and they haven't said it. And how can I start a conversation and say, you can say something like, hey, is everything kosher? Is it, is there anything you need to talk to me about? I value our relationship. Anything we need to work on. Okay, so those are simple ways that dreams can show us. Dreams show us really the reality of relationships and our feelings towards them. If you have a son, right, and he's been acting funny, and you have a dream of him taking drugs or going through your bar area and going and grabbing bottles of booze, okay, or you see him smoking a cigarette even, that can show a red flag, like, hey, something's going on in his life and we need to talk. So absolutely they can help us with relationships.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yeah. It's not just dreams, but it applies to dreams as well. If something keeps recurring to you, and maybe it seems absurd, so you want to say, oh, I'm just imagining this, I'm just making it up. But if it keeps recurring, it means something, and you should look at it and deal with it.
One of the things that bother people is when they dream about their ex. Why am I dreaming about my ex? Either I'm in a happy relationship or been there, done that. That was 20 years ago. Why am I dreaming about it? Because there's something that's unresolved, or a lot of times our dreams use people from our past for things that are going on in our future. So it could be a client, okay? It could be your boss. It could be somebody that you work with. So obviously it might not be a love relationship, but it's the same issue. As they say, like in romance, or even like a job, it could be a different person's name, different face, but it's the same issue. If you always have a boss that picks on you, there's something you need to learn. If you're always with, I'll tell a personal example of mine that happened decades ago, where I felt like, why am I always going out with these guys who they think by the third date they can sleep with me? I don't know them. I don't want to sleep with them, but I kept attracting them. And then one day it occurred to me, that's part of your belief. All that guys want from you is sex. And when I changed that belief, I started attracting healthier relationships. So there's a reason why you're having those dreams.
Yeah.
You need to look within you.
Yes, definitely. So can you get answers to problems in your dreams? And you kind of already answered that one, but elaborate a little bit.
Yes, you can definitely get answers in your dreams. And sometimes there's answers in future dreams, okay? I'm trying to think of one of my clients, okay, was having like these really weird dreams. It was like a spiritual dream where he saw all these like Native Americans dancing. Okay, I can't remember it completely. So all these Native American dancing, and he saw one fall off the cliff, right? And he was afraid something was going to happen to him, but the guy was okay. And then he saw someone he knew from church, and he shook his hand. And it went on to all these different spiritual people, He was being fed by, I think it was Hindus and all this stuff. And basically what the dream was showing him, even though he didn't ask the question, was, it's okay for you to look at different types of spirituality. Because he was very Christian, he was very fundamental Christian, Okay, at the time he had this dream, I mean, I interpreted to him about 6 months or so later because, you know, he wasn't ready to hear it. But the guy falling off, the Native American falling off the cliff, was really his fear. If I look at different religions, what's going to happen, different types of spirituality, and shaking, you know, his friends, who was fundamental Christians' hand, was letting them know that it was okay. And being fed by Hindus was like, your soul needs this to be fed. Okay, so yes, they can definitely give, you know, directions of where we need to go, even if we don't ask for direction. They can give us direction.
Definitely. So, do deceased loved ones visit us in our dreams?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the question I get asked all the time. All my blogs on deceased loved one, those are my most read blogs. You know, I mean, people are fascinated by this subject, and so am I, but they can definitely visit us in our dreams. And one of the things people want to know is, how can I tell the difference? All right. And when a deceased loved one comes to visit you, it almost feels like a visit. I mean, it can be very simple. They can just come and they can hug you. A lot of people get dreams as soon as they pass, okay? And it's them, they might just pop in and just be very loving, smile at them to let them know, hey, I'm okay. They might actually say, hey, I'm okay. I love you. You know, it's time for me to go on. You can also you could be sitting at the kitchen table. They could also, you know, you could, one client had like going to the store with them, okay, something, or if you went fishing, something that you did, you know. I remember one just, you know, came and, you know, it was at a porch, you know, standing on a porch, and she called me my nickname, which I don't want to say, you know, as a childhood nickname, okay, and that's all she said. All right. Usually when it's a visitation, there's so much love. Before my mom passed, she came to see me, all right, pulled on my hair, and I was having a lot of nightmares, so I was really scared. And I turned and I looked at her, and we didn't say a word, but the love was so intense, you know. And like when I read about when people say they have near-death experience and words can't explain it, that's how the love was. I've never felt this love. It was amazing, awesome. I mean, and that doesn't even describe it. And a few days, maybe a week later, she passed. And that was her way of saying, hey, I'm going to pass. So that's one of the ways you can tell that it's a visitation. Now, if you dream about someone and you're fighting with them, okay, or something in the past, or you're really upset about their passing, a lot of times that's an issue dream, you know, the unresolved stuff. But what's really neat, okay, is because I didn't realize this until I really started working with other people's dreams, is that sometimes having a deceased loved one visit you can spark like the inner stuff that you haven't, because we all have inner stuff that you haven't gone through, and they visit you and an issue dream comes up, okay? Or you're having an issue dream and they're fine. They're like, oh, no, I'm going to come. I love this person. I'm going to make them feel better. And they come and visit you. So that's really, really neat.
Yeah, it wasn't really a dream. It was more of well, maybe it was like I was saying, one of those daydreams. But I have this bookcase in my family room, and I have all of these those kind of flameless candles that you actually have to turn them on for them to light. Well, this one candle, it kept, you know, like flickering, and I didn't turn it on. And when it flickered, I got the feeling of the presence of someone. And then all of a sudden, I had a friend that passed away just a little over a year ago, about a year and a half ago. And I just really strongly got the message that she wanted me to check on her daughter. So
you checked on her daughter, I assume.
yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's just funny how, you know, I guess people have, I mean, spirits, if they are communicating with us, they have to have some way to get our attention.
Well, and people will say, you know, like, why don't they just like pick up the phone and call us? Okay. And sometimes they do actually use a phone, by the way. But they're vibrating at a much higher level. They're still with us. Okay. And that's why sometimes, like, obviously you're open, so you felt, you know, her energy. Okay. So you felt it, you got the message, you know. And and this was, she couldn't go to her daughter. She might have even tried, because when we're sleeping and we're dreaming, we're at a much higher vibration than our low vibration when we're in the physical, right? And she probably tried to come down at her vibration in the nighttime to see her daughter, and it wasn't working. Okay. Or she might have been around her and it wasn't working. And she said, okay, I'm going to go to Kate. Okay. Because Kate can help me with this, because I'm concerned about my daughter. And that's how she came. Sometimes they use a feather. They come in so many different ways, you know. And a lot of times they come, even though it can be upsetting, and that's like what I was talking about, the issue dreams and stuff. They come because they love us and they want to reach out in whatever way they can, and you know, and they help us release the emotions that we still have. Because quite honestly, some people get stuck, but most of those who have passed on, they're happy. They're in heaven, or what you want to call it. They're in like that love that I had with my mom. They're happy. It's us that are still sad.
Yes. Very
I
true.
also want to point out, because I'm feeling this, I'm sorry, Kate, I sometimes I get excited and I talk so much, but animals can come and visit us in our dreams too. Okay, that's another subject that people always want to know. And yes, if you're wondering, can my pet come and see me? Absolutely. Dogs, cats, birds, whatever. My you know, talking about visitations during the daytime, when my parakeet Birdie Bird passed, and I would do yoga, and especially it's called savasana when you lay down, but even yoga, that's when Birdie Bird came to me for whatever, because I was in that altered state. So yes, your animals can come.
So, do we dream of the future?
Yes, absolutely. We dream of the future. Okay. So many, what comes to mind, and I know it's a long time ago, but like 9/11, this was before I was really doing dream interpretation, but so many people told me, oh my God, I dreamed about this. Oh my God, I dreamed about that. So sometimes people do dream about tragedies. We dream about meeting people. I mean, I'm hearing that song Deja Vu, that kind of deja vu feeling. Sometimes it happens exactly like it's supposed to. But a lot of times it's symbolic and we have to figure it out. And it's kind of like, it's a feeling. Like you knew it was your friend who came to visit you. It was just a feeling. You can't explain it. It's a feeling. And a lot of times with your precognite dreams of the future, it's a feeling. But you have to wait for time to happen. And what's really interesting with precognite dreams is sometimes you get, when get the dream, it's like, okay, I understand this. This is what's going to happen, right? And then life goes on, and you look back, and something happens, and you're like, oh my God, the dream also meant this. And then years can go by, and it can happen. I've heard some of my clients have said, you know, I dreamed about meeting my husband, but it took 5 years, you know, or I dreamed, you know, of an event, and this happened. I remember one of the most amazing precognite dreams I had was I dreamed about this guy who I didn't feel safe with. I won't go into the details. He had a beard and a mustache, dark hair, did not feel safe, felt like he wanted to control me. A month later, I met him in a group of people and he looked exactly the same, which doesn't happen. Yeah. And guess what? He wanted to control me. You know, it was a warning dream. So absolutely, we can have future dreams.
Yeah, I went to a psychic a long time ago, and I didn't believe in psychics really at the time, but I just thought it was a fun thing to do. And she told me about what she described to me was what happened when I met my ex-husband. But I didn't believe it. And I didn't, you know, I kind of remembered it, but it wasn't top of mind. And she told me that I was going to meet this person who was going to, we were going to exchange letters, and I was going to think that I was in love, but that I shouldn't marry that person because they weren't the right person for me. And that happened with my ex-husband. We met and then we wrote letters for 6 months before we saw each other again. And, I didn't connect it. And, I married him. So.
But you know what? But you learn from it.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
it was a learning experience, and it lasted for a long time. So, it was, I don't know what would have happened if I hadn't have done that. So.
But and again, it's like life. It's like choices. If we can listen to our dreams, we can listen to advice, but it's free will. I know that I was in some rotten relationships, and I remember going out with this guy, and there was all kinds of red flags, and I went out with him twice. And then after that, I said, you know what? I can continue dating this man to find out if what I'm feeling intuitively is correct, but why go through that? And because of the past lessons that I had, I said no, So now if you see certain characteristics that are in your ex, that's not what you want.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, it's definitely a lesson. And for all you know, you could have dreamed about it. You just don't remember it.
Possibly. So does learning how to interpret our dreams increase intuition and psychic abilities?
Absolutely. It that's how my psychic abilities came back out. It really does, because you're using your subconscious mind, or if you want to say your unconscious mind when you dream, and looking at those and not looking at things logically, okay? Because if you look at like what I described with like deceased loved ones coming back, people could say, oh, that was just your desire, okay? But you have to look at it intuitively and how you're feeling, and if there's certain symbols there. So basically, you're using your intuition, okay? Just like you knew it was your friend, okay? It's intuition and dreams can't be proved. It's a feeling. When I give someone, because I like to give more than one interpretation, usually I feel like this is it, okay? But when I give someone an interpretation of their dream, they're like, aha, that's it. They feel it. So when you're interpreting your dreams and you're looking at different symbols and you're looking at your life, you're using a part of your brain that you normally don't use. Okay, so absolutely, it can spark your intuition. It can spark hidden gifts that you haven't used before.
Yes.
Am I making sense?
Yes, definitely. You just
Okay.
learn to, recognize and pay attention.
Exactly.
So, what is the biggest gift or reward that you get from your work interpreting dreams and teaching those skills to others?
Oh, personally?
Yes.
Okay. personally, I'm doing what I love. Okay. I mean, it makes my heart sing. It floats my boat. I find it so fascinating. Okay. But I want to say on a soul spiritual level, I'm helping people. So even people who never do a session with me, if they read my blog, if they read a book, or whatever, and I help them in some way, get in touch with them, even if it's like learning how to remember their dreams, or even the message that, hey, my father or my sister or whatever came to visit me, or dreams make sense, or oh my God, now I can interpret my own dream, especially like my students when they're like, oh, I get this, yes, that makes so sense, now I can do it myself. That's what's so rewarding, making positive changes and helping people heal. It words can't describe it.
Yes, I totally know what you mean.
I'm
So,
sure in your field.
yes. So we're just about out of time now, but if you could leave the listeners with one thought from today's show, what would you want that to be?
Okay, obviously pay attention to your dreams, okay? But know that you're valuable, okay? Know that if you're working on yourself, there's nothing wrong with you. Think of it as like you're shining a diamond. You're making yourself sparkle. So work on yourself. Do the things that you love. Listen to your intuition and follow your heart. That's so important. And be you. Be you. Do what you love, whatever that is.
Yes, good advice.
Thank you.
So if people want to get in touch with you, could you tell them how they could do that?
Sure. I actually have two websites. If you go to Pamela Cummins, PamelaCummins.com, you can get to my dream interpretation site, Learn Dream Interpretation. Okay. You can find me there. I'm also on Facebook, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. Those are my three main social media accounts that I like to go. And I have free gifts, and I have books, at all the stores, Amazon, iBooks, or it's Apple Books now,
Yes.
Google Play and stuff. So you'll find me. Just Google me. You'll find me.
Okay, well, thank you for being here today and enlightening us with your wisdom.
Thank you for having me, Kate. It's been an honor. It really has.
So I'd like to thank the audience for listening today. I have a couple of quotes that I'd like you to carry with you through your week. One of them is, solution dreams can help you overcome obstacles that are preventing you from growing into your full potential. And that was said by Pamela Cummins in her book, Learn the Secret Language of Dreams. And then, don't ignore your dreams. In them, your soul is awake and you are your true self. And that was said by Bangambiki Habaramana, which I probably just totally said that wrong.
I would have too.
But he wrote Pearls of Eternity, and I love his quote. So be sure to tune in next week. We have another great show planned. I'm going to be interviewing Robin Callahan, and the show is called When Your Dreams Are Set in Stone. And Robin is actually a jewelry designer and lapidary artist and a gemologist. And so this is going to be a kind of a different show, and so tune in and find out what what she does and why she loves it so much. Next Tuesday, June 30th at 3 p.m. So I'm just going to say bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Soul Fire Wisdom with Kate Olson. We hope you enjoyed the show. If we made you laugh, brightened your day, or sparked a new thought, we have succeeded in our mission. Join us next time when we'll share more secrets and truths and all the magic of transformation that is the journey to Soul Fire Wisdom. Always remember, be fierce in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire.